Which brings me to my last point. This is what I talked about earlier about being the most important part of this video. That is that you have to realize dartitis is one of the worst things a dart player can experience. It sometimes can even be worse than an actual physical injury. I don't wish dartitis on my worst enemies, so in this one, we're gonna go over how to beat dartitis once you start feeling it sink in. So the first thing that you have to understand is that dartitis is 100% mental. It may feel physical because you're gonna feel like you forgot how to throw your dart, but that all stems back to the mental. You have to fix your mental game to fix your physical game, and then ultimately to beat dartitis. So these are some steps that you can take to beat dartitis once you start feeling it come in, and make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I'm going to give the most important thing that you need to hear about getting over dartitis. The first thing that I want you to do is stop aiming. One of the worst parts about dartitis is that you have a very hard time hitting your target. The more you keep throwing at these targets and the more that you keep missing, the more it's going to mess up your mental game and it's going to get worse. So the second you stop aiming, now you're not thinking about what you're hitting on the dartboard anymore, and now you can focus on actually fixing your throw. The second thing I want you to do is start adjusting different parts of your throw. Now that we've stopped aiming, we can play around with our throw and start trying to find what feels comfortable again. And I'm not saying that you have to completely change your darts throw. Changing your throw can be as simple as moving half an inch to the left on the line. But the last thing you want to do is keep doing the same thing that you're doing. If it feels uncomfortable and you keep doing the same thing over and over, it's not going to feel comfortable again. So you have to make minor adjustments until you start finding what's feeling comfortable for you. So like I said, one of the first things that I like to do is fix where I'm standing on the line. I'll move a little bit to the left or the right and see if I can find myself throwing the dart straight. From there, I like to play with my grip. Once again, we're not completely refinding our grip. It's just a matter of making small adjustments to see what could possibly feel good. This could be as simple as holding the dart 1 millimeter a little bit higher or lower on your index finger, your thumb, or your middle finger. I have about 3 different grips that I rotate through. Sometimes one can feel completely uncomfortable while another feels comfortable. And then down the line, that one that felt comfortable eventually starts to feel uncomfortable, then I go back to my other grip. So along with moving on the line, that's the other first thing I do is start playing with my grip and rotating through my different ones to see which one is going to feel more comfortable. Now, if you're struggling with dartitis, maybe all 3 of these feel completely uncomfortable, and maybe you have to find a new grip to add into your rotation. I've been struggling with some dartitis the last few months now, and it wasn't until semi-recently that I've been playing with my grip and I'm finally starting to feel comfortable again. So stop aiming, start adjusting your throw, try to feel comfortable on the dartboard, and then once you start feeling a little bit comfortable, the third thing I want you to do is start to aim big. Triples and doubles are obviously a lot smaller than the single numbers, so if you're aiming for those and missing, then that's going to come back and hurt our confidence, which is ultimately going to hurt our mental game. So once you start aiming, just aim at the big numbers. And once you start hitting those, your confidence is going to start to go up. Once your confidence starts to go up, from here, I recommend starting to throw at the bullseye. And when I say bullseye, I'm including the 25-bit as well. Everybody likes hitting the bullseye, and since it's bigger than the triple, you're going to be able to hit it better. And once you start hitting those bullseyes, once again, your confidence is going to start to go up. And then once you start feeling comfortable on those bullseyes, then you can start working your way around the board on the triples and the doubles. The fourth thing I'm going to talk about here is having fun. I always find myself to have dartitis start sinking in when I'm not having fun playing the game. It's usually a combination of putting too much pressure on myself and over practicing. So what led to this recent bout of dartitis that I've been having is that I was over practicing and putting too much pressure on myself for a big tournament I had coming up. I was over practicing because I wasn't doing too much focus on my practicing. I was more or less just standing at the dartboard and getting in as many throws as I could, thinking that it was going to help my game. But really, it ultimately hurt my game because I wasn't putting much focus in the practice. Once I got into a competitive game, I wasn't able to put my full focus into the game and it was throwing me off. And since I put too much pressure on myself, when I started missing darts, it had a really bad negative effect on my mental game. By the end of the tournament, nothing felt right, and I've been struggling ever since. So make sure that you're always having fun when you play darts. That's the reason we play in the first place. If we weren't having fun playing, then what's the point of even playing? So you can do this by putting yourself in fun darts environments. I like to do this by playing blind draws and just going out and playing. Blind draws are much more of a laid-back environment. It's more about having fun as opposed to being super competitive and trying to win a bunch of money or points for rankings. So once you start feeling the dartitis sink in, you have to remind yourself to have fun. Now the fifth thing I'm going to talk about here is if you're trying all these things and still nothing's feeling comfortable and they feel like it might be getting worse, sometimes you just have to take a break. After that tournament, I did not pick up my darts for a whole week. My darts were so bad, the more I was throwing, the worse I was feeling, so the best thing that I could possibly do is put my darts away and not even think about it for a week. And this is really hard for some of us, including myself, because we just have our dartboards up in our house. We walk around, we see our dartboard, we just naturally want to go pick up our darts and throw because we like doing it. So I made sure to lock up my darts so I had no temptations to throw them. And then once I started picking up my darts and throwing again, the steps that I talked about in this video are the steps that I went through to start finding my throw again. And now here we are about 3 months later, and I feel like I'm finally just now starting to find my throw again. Which brings me to my last point. This is what I talked about earlier about being the most important part of this video. That is that you have to realize that beating dartitis is gonna take time. You have to be patient. Dartitis isn't just something you're gonna beat in a day, a week, or a month. Sometimes it can take up to 6 months to a year to finally feel comfortable again. And I know that can sound very discouraging. There's been plenty of times throughout these last few months where I felt like I'm just never gonna get good and have had temptations to just put my darts down, which I would never do because I love the game too much. But it doesn't change the fact that I had these really negative thoughts. But then I always remind myself that eventually I'm gonna feel really good on the dartboard again. And once that time comes, I'm gonna be even better than I was before. So that's what you have to realize, is that it's going to take time. And once you eventually do get out of this dartitis, you're gonna throw your best darts that you've ever thrown in your life. So once you start feeling dartitis sink in, run through these steps and just realize it's gonna take time. Alright guys, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop the video a thumbs up. Some videos should have popped up somewhere over here. Click one, click them both. I'll see you all in the next one, and shoot well.